There's a feeling you get right before you spend money you probably shouldn't. It doesn't feel like weakness. It doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like control. Like you finally made a decision. Like you did something. And that feeling is exactly what gets you. Here's something most people never realize about themselves. When life feels chaotic. When work is overwhelming. When relationships are difficult. When the future feels uncertain. The brain doesn't just accept that feeling. It searches for an exit. Not a solution. An exit. Something, anything, that creates the sensation of being in control again. And one of the fastest exits the modern world offers is spending money. Think about the last time you bought something you didn't plan on buying. Maybe it was late at night. Maybe you'd had a hard week. Maybe something at work went wrong. Maybe you just felt stuck. And then you bought something. A gadget. A piece of clothing. A course you never finished. And for a moment, maybe just a few minutes, something shifted. The anxiety dropped. The noise in your head got quieter. You felt like you had done something. That wasn't random. That was your brain executing a very specific program. Psychologists call it compensatory control. When people feel that important areas of their life are out of their control, they compensate by asserting control somewhere else. Somewhere easier. Somewhere that gives instant feedback. And consumer spending is one of the most effective compensatory control mechanisms ever designed. You click. You pay. You receive. The loop is clean. The result is immediate. The feeling is real. Your brain registers it as agency. As decision-making. As power, even when you just spent money you didn't have on something you didn't need. This is where it gets more complicated. Because the feeling of control you get from spending isn't completely fake. You did make a choice. You did take an action. You did receive something in return. The brain isn't lying to you entirely. It's just redirecting. Taking the energy you need to solve a hard problem and pointing it at an easy one instead. A study published in the Journal of Consumer Research found that when people feel a lack of control in their lives, they are significantly more likely to engage in what researchers call compensatory buying. Not because they need the product. Because they need the feeling of deciding something. And the market knows this. Every major retail platform in the world is built around moments of psychological vulnerability. Late-night notifications. Limited time offers. One-click purchasing. These aren't design choices made for convenience. They are systems engineered to meet you at your lowest point and offer you a feeling of control at a price. Amazon didn't invent one-click checkout because it saves time. It removed the one moment, the pause, where your rational mind might say, "Do I actually need this?" Now here is what makes this a trap. Not just a bad habit. A trap. When you spend to feel control, you create the exact conditions that make you feel out of control again. Financial pressure builds. Guilt follows. Anxiety increases. And when anxiety increases, the urge to compensate returns. You spend again. Not more consciously. More desperately. This is the loop. Stress creates the need for control. Spending provides the illusion of control. Spending creates more stress. More stress creates more need for control. And most people inside this loop never see it. Because from the inside it just feels like life. So what breaks the loop? Not discipline. Not budgeting apps. Not cutting up your credit cards. Awareness of the trigger. The research is consistent on this point. You cannot interrupt a behavior you don't recognize. The moment before you spend, that specific moment, is almost never about the product. It's about a feeling you're trying to escape. Start there. When the urge to buy something appears, pause. Not to judge it, not to resist it through willpower. Just to name it. What am I actually feeling right now? overwhelmed, anxious, powerless, bored. Naming the emotion activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational decision-making. It creates distance between the impulse and the action. Just a few seconds. But those few seconds are the entire difference between the loop continuing and the loop breaking. The second thing that helps is replacing the control behavior, not eliminating it. Your brain needs the feeling of agency. That need is real and it's not going away, but the behavior that meets that need can change. A short walk. Writing down 3 things you can actually decide today. Cleaning one small area of your space. Making a plan, even a rough one, for something you've been avoiding. These actions are small. But to your brain they are control. Real control. Not borrowed from a credit card. Not delivered in a package. Not gone by morning. Most people think their spending problem is about money. It isn't. A brain trying to answer one question, over and over again. Am I okay? Am I in control? Does any of this make sense? And as long as your only answer to that question is a purchase, the loop continues. Understanding this doesn't fix everything overnight. But it changes what you're actually working on. You stop fighting your spending. And you start understanding what your spending is trying to do for you. In the next video, we're going to talk about something even more hidden. Most people assume that financial stress is the result of not having enough money. But the research tells a different story. Financial stress has a way of creating the exact decisions that create more financial stress. It's not a circumstance. It's a cycle. And once you see how it works, you can't unsee it.